Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into it.
There are famous and not so famous companies engaged in the production of cars. If we take into account those that have managed to drop into obscurity, the count will obviously go into the thousands. And each automaker, in addition to the name, has its own original logo, emblem, badge, which visually identifies the company's products. Today there is no expert who would give an accurate quantitative assessment of this issue, but there are about 50 companies that are known to all car enthusiasts. Well, or almost all of them. Let's familiarize ourselves with the history of their appearance and formation. So, we offer you a description of car brands, badges, and names. A number of countries are also known for their outstanding car industry. The same Germany has always been considered an exemplary manufacturer of the best cars in the world. It cannot be said that the Germans now hold the leadership in the market, but their cars are definitely considered one of the best. To make it easier to classify car brands, they were divided into several categories, depending on the country of manufacturer. Plus, one large category has been added. As a result, the following cars will be considered: Japanese, American, Russian, German, Korean, Chinese, European. It is hardly possible to cover literally all car brands. It should not be forgotten that history counts far more automakers than there are today. Plus, there are small firms that are known sometimes only within one state. Japan. To begin with, let's consider the famous and not so famous brands of cars that came from Japan. Most of them are familiar to Russian, European, and American consumers. But the list also includes Japanese cars whose brands may not be so familiar. Acura, a well-known division of the Japanese brand Honda. The plant was built in 1986, but the name Acura appeared only 3 years later. It was here that they began to make the first premium cars, created to compete with European auto giants. Under this brand, only the prestigious models of the parent company are produced, focused on the U.S. market. Emblem. The logo depicts a crown circle. This is a special tool that allows you to accurately measure parts. Daihatsu, not the most popular and well-known Japanese brand in Russia, which is gradually becoming more recognizable. The brand has been controlled by Toyota since 1999. The logo is based on the stylized letter D. Datsun, once an independent brand, which was absorbed by Nissan in 1986. Only since 2013, the independent production of cars under the Datsun brand has been established. On the badge there is a flag of Japan and the name of the brand. Infiniti Premium Division of the company Nissan. It is interesting that the original idea in the development of the logo was to use the symbol of infinity. But the management changed its mind, as a result of which a road rushing away appeared on the badge. Honda in 1946, Soichiro Honda, an engineer with entrepreneurial skills, decided to start manufacturing auto parts and motorcycles. Having achieved worldwide success, in 1963 the concern began to develop the automobile direction in parallel, succeeding here as well. Currently, Honda Motor remains the world leader in motorcycle production and is among the top 10 best automakers. The brand logo is simple and recognizable. As for the logo, nothing was invented. It is just a beautifully designed first letter from the brand name. Lexus, the luxury division of Toyota Motors, released the first model in 1985, and originally these cars were oriented to the American market. The emblem of the Japanese premium class car is both simple and recognizable, being a symbol of impeccable style and reliability, comfort and luxury. For the logo they chose the capital letter, slanting it, and enclosing it in an oval. Kawasaki. For most car enthusiasts, this brand is associated with motorcycles, although the company also produces cars and other equipment. The logo is extremely simple. It is the name of the brand, made in a beautiful style and with a dark background. Mazda, the Hiroshima-based company, has evolved smoothly since 1920 from a manufacturer of bottle caps to a maker of three-wheeled scooters, trucks, and, since 1960, cars. Mazda's emblem, the letter M inscribed in an oval, resembles wings, but many refer to it as a tulip or even an owl. Mitsubishi, founded in 1873, the company was engaged in shipbuilding for a long time. In the 30s, produced small arms. In 1945, it turned into a multi-vector corporation with more than 200 areas of activity, and only in the 70s began to master the automobile industry. Mitsubishi in Japanese means three diamonds. They are depicted on the emblem of the company, and accordingly, such signs logos are on all cars of the company. Nissan is the oldest Japanese automaker, operating since 1925. However, before 1934, the company changed many names as a result of numerous mergers. It is believed that the emblem of the company is the sun rising above the horizon, and it is the oldest automobile logo that has survived unchanged to this day. Subaru since 1956, Subaru, which became a division of Fuji, first produced mopeds, and since 1958, cars. Today it is a large concern, which also produces trucks, industrial equipment, and aviation products. The badge shows 6 stars, one of which is slightly larger than the others. Symbolizes the merger of 6 car companies. Suzuki, the company, originally dealt with looms and motorcycles. Since 1920, it specialized in the manufacture of looms, and only in 1937 began to develop its own car. The first cars under this brand came off the assembly line only in 1973. Today, cars under this brand are sold in 170 countries. The emblem of the company is a stylized hieroglyphic letter S. Toyota also initially produced looms since 1935, but a year later it was reclassified as an automobile manufacturer. In 1962, the concern reached the millionth milestone, and today it is the world's largest manufacturer of passenger cars of all classes. The Toyota logo is a thread threaded into the eye of a needle, as a legacy of past specialization. Note that almost all brands of Japanese cars have icons, over the deciphering of the meaning of which you need to think hard. Yamaha, another supposedly motorcycle manufacturer. But they also make engines for cars, which is why the company still made this list. The logo depicts 3 tunnels that are crossed. The Japanese car industry is widely known all over the world and is highly appreciated by motorists from all over the world. Among them, there are leading companies that regularly win the most prestigious awards, take the first places in reliability ratings. This speaks of the highest level of car manufacturing in the country. USA. The American automobile industry occupies a separate place in the world production of cars. It is here that the history of automobile manufacturing began. The USA has a number of companies that offer their cars all over the world. But there are also purely specialized in the domestic market manufacturers. Therefore, many are rightly interested in what brands of cars are ready to offer American companies, and what is depicted on their logos. Bentley, created in 1919 by Walter Bentley, the company from the very beginning focused on the manufacture of exclusively prestigious cars. The automaker's logo is no less famous. Wings with the letter B enclosed in a circle. Interestingly, the background of the letter B can be black, models characterized by huge power, green, racing cars, and red, exquisite luxury cars. Buick. American engineer David Buick created his automobile manufacturing company in 1902. Having no talents as an entrepreneur, he was forced to join his firm to the gaining momentum of the General Motors concern, reserving the right to be a separate division. The Buick logo has been subjected to thorough modifications quite often. The current one, 3 shields in a circle, symbolizes 3 successful models of the company. Cadillac, founded in 1903 by businessman William Murphy and engineer Heinrich Leland, the company was absorbed by General Motors 6 years later, but this time it was allowed to develop independently. It was here that cars with innovative technical solutions were repeatedly created, setting the tone in automobile fashion. The Cadillac logo features the family crest of Detroit's founder, de la Motta Cadillac. Chevrolet. Although the founder of Chevrolet is William Durant, he decided to name the newly formed company after the famous racing driver Louis Chevrolet. It is currently one of the main divisions of General Motors, but is still a standalone brand in the list of American car brands. As for the company's logo, remotely resembling a bow tie, the history of its appearance has several different interpretations, but its real meaning is unknown. Chrysler. The history of the company began in the distant 1924. The badge depicts a design in the form of wings. As they tell the manufacturer themselves, This is a symbol of speed and strength. The logo somewhat resembles the badges used on the British Aston Martin and Bentley. Dodge. The date of the company's foundation is 1914. Dodge brothers, Horace and John, were the first to manage to establish the production of cars with all-metal bodies. So a small company, first supplying spare parts for Ford, turned into an independent player. In 1928, it joined Chrysler, leaving behind a trademark. On the emblem of the brand is the head of a bull, an animal strong and assertive, and is made in the form of a metal shield. It has remained unchanged since 1994. Eagle, a well-known company in the USA, whose machines have proven themselves in many countries of the world. The name makes it obvious that the logo must have an eagle on it. And so it is. It is a gray head of a bird of prey with the name of the brand itself on top. Ford. Henry Ford is a legendary figure. Having founded his company in 1903, he was the first to apply conveyor technology in 1913, which allowed to significantly reduce the cost of cars of this brand. By the mid-20s, every second car in the United States was produced at Ford plants. Today, Ford Motors is a transnational corporation with plants and assembly plants in 30 countries. The emblem of the company is not distinguished by design delights. There are no images on the badge of the car, only the name of the brand, but it is still easily recognizable. GMC, established in 1908 by William Durand, General Motors Corporation, initially followed the path of merging/absorbing other brands, which allowed it to become the world's largest automaker, which GM was for 77 years, losing its primacy only in 2008, when it was threatened with bankruptcy due to the financial crisis. It is one of the few automakers that does not have its own logo. The cars of the American concern have only a letter emblem. Tesla, gaining incredible scale of popularity of the brand, specializing purely in electric cars. The logo depicts the letter T, which looks like a sword. There are several major automakers in the United States that have other popular brands under their control. General Motors alone includes brands such as Buick, Cadillac, Chevrolet, and its own GMC brand. Another giant automaker is considered to be Chrysler. And no wonder, since it includes Jeep, Eagle, Dodge, Plymouth, Imperial, and a number of other car companies. Russia. For domestic motorists and car enthusiasts, it's easy enough to recognize which Russian car brand is featured here by the badge on the hood of the car. To the great regret of many, the Russian car industry is seriously lagging behind the world leaders and even the middlers. There is only one major brand in Russia, as well as several smaller companies. But even they enjoy wide popularity at home and in the CIS countries, largely due to the adequate price and gradually increasing quality. Read also, technical features, advantages, and disadvantages of the TDI engine. Lada. In 1967, construction began on Avtovaz, a plant that was envisioned as the leader of the Soviet automobile industry. The first VAZ rolled off the assembly line in 1971. Later, one of the car giant's brands, Lada, became dominant. Today, the company's assortment includes a considerable number of models, which every year become more and more perfect, approaching the quality of foreign cars. The most famous Russian car brand has an emblem in the form of a rook enclosed in an oval, which appeared in 1994. The authorship of the final version of the design belongs to Steve Mattin, former designer of Volvo. GAZ. The company came into being due to the combined efforts of GAZ and the American brand Ford. Domestic enthusiasts wanted to meet consumer demand for luxury cars at the expense of Volga. You can judge for yourself how well it turned out. Once Volga really was luxury. The logo of the GAZ company remains. It shows a deer on a background resembling a shield. The Gorky automobile plant came into operation in 1932, producing its first truck, the famous Polyatorka. The production of passenger cars was established already in the post-war years. Pobeda and Volga are the most famous models of the brand. Today, the lineup of passenger cars is dominated by GAZ 3110/GAZ 3111. The company logo is based on the coat of arms of Nizhny Novgorod, the current native Russian name of Gorky. ZIL, a once world-famous limousine manufacturer, whose badge displays stylized letters from the brand name. Now the company has switched to making trucks, tractors, and buses. Moskvich cars under this name began to be produced before the war, but they were not in demand. After the war, Thanks to borrowed from Opel technologies, it was possible to develop a more successful and interesting version of Moskvich, which was based on the German Cadet. The AZLK plant was the first in Soviet history to start production of passenger cars in 1930. The Moskvich 412, produced since 1967, became a real bestseller. 7 years later, the 2 millionth copy rolled off the assembly line, and in 1986, the 4 millionth. Unfortunately, today the plant is stagnating. Moskvich emblem is the letter M stylized under the Kremlin wall. UAZ formed in 1942 on the basis of the evacuated ZL plant. In the post-war years, the company mastered the production of mega-popular UAZ, designed on the basis of GAZ-69. The AZ-469 SUV, launched in 1972, was no less popular. Having survived the collapse of the Soviet Union, UAZ managed to recover. The current logo of the brand is a bird on the background of the sun and the inscription UAZ in green color. KAMAZ, one of the best manufacturers of heavy vehicles in the world. It gained huge popularity after successful participation in survival races, the route of which runs from Paris to Dakar. The badge shows a horse with the name of the company below. There are not many manufacturers of passenger cars in Russia. The practice of producing cars by foreign manufacturers is now being actively introduced. As a result, there is a whole range of Russian-built foreign cars on the domestic market. This makes it possible to considerably reduce the price of cars for end consumers. Germany. Despite the fact that Germany is the immediate and most important part of Europe, it is fair to separately distinguish this country as one of the leading in the world of car manufacturing. Their brands are definitely known all over the world, and every second person dreams of becoming the owner of a German car. It is wrong to think that Germany is represented only by the leading three in the face of Mercedes, Volkswagen, and BMW, as well as companies under their control. It is worth considering all the famous companies and learn about the emblems of cars of German brands. Wiesmann, although the company closed a few years ago, its cars still wheel on the roads. Here they produce sports cars in strictly limited quantities. The logo depicts a gecko. Thus, the management tried to show how stable on the road are their cars. After all, this species of lizard is known for its ability to easily move on walls and ceilings. Volkswagen, the first Volkswagen car, which means people's car, saw the light of day in 1935. The model immediately became a bestseller, earning the nickname Beetle for its small size and rounded shape. After a 10-year break, the brand was revived, having managed to restore its fame as a manufacturer of affordable vehicles. The logo of the concern was repeatedly changed. The author of the final design is Franz Riem Spiss from Porsche. The icon shows stylized letters W and V. Trabant, the name translates as satellite, which is due to the launch of the first artificial satellite in history. Thanks to it, the name of the car company appeared. The letter S is shown on the badge. Smart, the company specializes in very compact and economical city cars. The icon shows the letter C and is complemented by a yellow arrow. Porsche. Ferdinand Porsche founded his design office in 1931, and his first success was the Type 22 racing car, 1936. Since 1937, with the support of the government, the company started producing its own cars. The world-famous automaker was engaged in sports cars, although even now it produces sedans and crossovers. The logo consists of elements of the coat of arms of Baden-Württemberg, antlers of a deer and stripes of red and black color, as well as the symbol of the city of Stuttgart, a horse on the rack. Opel. The Opel brothers founded their company in 1898, but decided not to follow in the footsteps of their father, who was engaged in bicycles and sewing machines, and immediately set up the production of cars. Due to post-war inflation, the brothers were forced to sell their factory to General Motors, and things started to pick up again. Today, it is one of the most democratic German brands. On the logo, you can see a circle, inside of which there is a lightning bolt, the emblem of which symbolizes speed, lightning. Mercedes-Benz, as a result of the merger in 1926 of automobile firms Daimler-Gesellschaft and no less famous Benz und Co., the company Mercedes-Benz was born, the symbol of which became the famous three-rayed star. The icon displays three rays. They symbolize superiority in the air, on land, and on water, a reference to the rich history when the company produced not only cars, but also airplanes and water transport. Maybach, a company from Germany that produces incredibly expensive and luxurious cars. The emblem displays two letters with different sizes. MAN, the brand, is best known for producing trucks. Now the badge displays the name of the company, as well as a silver arch. Also, there used to be a lion on the logo, but since 2012 it was moved to the rim of the grille. BMW. The history of this automaker begins in 1913, and at first the company, founded by Gustav Otto and Karl Rapp, was engaged in the production of aircraft engines. After the end of World War I, the firm had to retrain and engage in the manufacture of motorcycles, and only in 1928 Bayerische Motoren Werke began to produce cars. The logo of the famous German car brand in its modern form appeared in 1963, with the colors inside the circle symbolizing Bavaria. Audi, a company with a 110-year history, is known to everyone today. Not everyone knows that the founder of the company was August Horch, who gave the original name to his brainchild back in 1899. But because of disagreements with his companions, he was forced to create his own company, which had to give the name Audi, which, in Latin, meant the same as Horch. And the emblem in the form of four intertwined rings appeared only in 1932, as a symbol of the merger of four companies, Audi, DKW, Vanderer, and Horch. Since then, the Audi car logos have not been changed. Alpina, the company, customizes BMW cars for special customer orders. The logo looks stylish and original. It depicts two car parts on a blue and red background, placed on a shield and enclosed in a circle. Germany is really an automobile country. On its account, a huge number of companies and productions. It is not for nothing that Germans are considered to be manufacturers of the most high-quality cars. Although it should be noted that in recent years their positions have been significantly shaken. Competitors continue to build up their advantages. But this in no way prevents the leading German car brands from remaining incredibly popular all over the world. Europe is home to a large concentration of car manufacturers, many of which are easily recognizable. It is not easy to make a complete list of Italian car brands and the same French car brands, not to forget the well-known and widespread cars of British origin. For many, British cars are associated with superior quality and high value. English brands are indeed, and most of them belong to the expensive segment, which cannot be said about the pricing policy of the same French cars. Combining the most popular European brands, which includes English, Italian, French, and other brands, we can present approximately the following list: Alfa Romeo, Bugatti, Ferrari, Fiat, Lamborghini, Maserati, Volvo, Skoda, Citroën, Aston Martin, Bentley, Peugeot, Seat, Rover, Saab, Raven, Lancia, Rolls-Royce, Jaguar, Land Rover, etc. Let's consider several car brands of European production and study the features of their logos. Alfa Romeo in 1906, a company assembling French cars, Derek, appeared near Milan. As they were not successful, after 4 years the company started to produce its own cars. Thus appeared A.L.F.A., which in 1933 was nationalized and received its current name. The logo includes two images inscribed in a semicircle. One, a red cross on a white background, is an element of the coat of arms of Milan. The second, a green serpent with a man in its mouth, is a copy of the coat of arms of the famous Milanese dynasty Visconti. Aston Martin. The date of foundation of the famous British automobile company is 1914, when the first car was born. One of the founders of the company is Lionel Martin, who was an active racer and even won the race held in the locality of Aston Clinton. This is how the name of the company was born. The emblem of the company, stylized wings, symbolizing speed with the inscribed name of the company. By the way, this is not the only car brand with wings on the badge. Bugatti, the French company specializing in the manufacture of exclusive sports cars and racing cars, is the brainchild of Italian engineer Ettore Bugatti. Founded in 1909, it is associated with many famous models that set the tone in automobile fashion of different times. The logo of this car brand is a red oval, stylized as a pearl, with the initials and surname of its founder. Rolls-Royce. The badge consists of the first letters of the surnames of the company's founders. Rolls and Royce inscribed their names more than 100 years ago. All cars of the brand are presented in the premium segment. The logo displays two letters R, which are superimposed on each other, but have a slight offset. Land Rover initially, the logo of the cars of this brand displayed axes and spears. But then it was decided to change the icon, as a result of which now there is a rook, which was used in its time by the Vikings. This vessel has a red sail. Ferrari, the famous racer Enzo Ferrari in 1939 decided to try his luck in the field of automobile manufacturing, and it is not surprising that his company was initially focused on the production of racing and sports cars. The first car was produced in 1946. Before that, the company was engaged in the manufacture of automotive equipment and cars under the brand name Alfa Romeo. Ferrari's lineup includes quite a few outstanding cars, from the 250 GT to the Daytona. Read also, self-check of a used car before purchase. The original emblem of the Italian brand, a horse icon on a yellow background and colors of the national Italian flag with the letters SF, Scuderia Ferrari, the name of the racing team in Formula One. Fiat Turin-based Fabbrica Italiana Automobili is the oldest Italian automaker, founded in 1899. At the beginning of the 20th century, the factory specialized in luxury and sports cars, but in 2012 it was decided to switch from artisanal to serial production process. Currently, the car company has succeeded in mergers with such bankrupt brands as Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, Lancia. The Fiat emblem took its final form in 1968. The logo went through many transformations. On the badge left a square and a circle, supplemented by the name of the company. Renault, another old-timer of the French car industry, was founded in 1898, was repeatedly nationalized, and then became a private company again. Currently, it actively cooperates with Nissan. The current form of the logo received in 2007, and although the badge of the company is not distinguished by sophistication, the cars of this brand are recognizable and popular and symbolizes a diamond. Peugeot, the oldest and largest French automobile company, has been producing cars since 1889. Initially focused on inexpensive mass models, the concern has mastered the production of all categories of cars over time. The Peugeot emblem, a lion staring forward, symbolizes the dynamics of cars of this brand. Citroën, the company, was originally engaged in the repair of steam locomotives. The company was founded in 1919 by entrepreneur André Citroën, and later switched to the production of low-budget mass cars. Many people call the company a pillar of the French car industry. Citroën's symbol, double chevron, is obviously borrowed from heraldists. Their such image was used quite often. Maserati, 5 brothers Maserati, who founded an automobile company in 1914, also engaged in the production of spark plugs and motors, did not realize what their initiative would result in. In 1926, the first success came to them, and since then this brand has been firmly associated with powerful sports and racing cars. The trident of Neptune, depicted on the emblem of the company, is part of the coat of arms of Bologna, and the badge of the car is also inscribed the name of the model. Seat established in 1950, the company for a long time focused on the domestic market, but with the arrival of Volkswagen, which bought almost a full stake in 1980, the business of the leading Spanish automaker went up sharply. The stylized letter S is the third logo of the Spaniards. Skoda is one of the oldest automakers in Eastern Europe. Founded in 1925, it managed to launch its first model on the local market in the early 30s. In the early 90s, Skoda became the property of Volkswagen Group, and since then it has been a world-class player. The logo was designed in 2011. The winged arrow symbolizes the pursuit of technical progress. In the list of auto emblems of the world, this icon is one of the most intricate. Volvo, founded in 1924, the company initially sought to rely on Swedish components. The first model turned out to be successful, and in 1927 the company was named Volvo, from Latin I roll. In addition to passenger cars, Volvo specializes in the production of trucks, and what even succeeded much more. All Swedish cars are characterized by a high level of safety and reliability. Among European car brands, the Volvo emblem, a schematic image of the Roman god of war Mars, is not the most recognizable, as the current form has acquired relatively recently. The emblem is a weapon of the god of war Mars. For the badge took his shield and spear. diagonal line served initially only to fix these two elements. But soon it became an integral part of the logo. Jaguar starting in 1925 with the production of motorcycle sidecars, the small company 2 years later switched to the production of car bodies, and in 1931 began producing luxury cars. Its current name was received in 1945. The former SS had bad associations. The emblem of the British luxury brand also corresponds to the name. Europe is very rich in a variety of cars, ranging from simple budget solutions to incredibly expensive, luxurious, and exclusive models, worth several million euros. Korea. Next, let's consider the Korean brands of famous and not-so-famous cars with their names and badges. Hyundai concern Hyundai initially specialized in construction and shipbuilding, but in 1967 the automobile division was created, and a year later the production of passenger cars was launched. The first cars were licensed. The first model of its own development appeared in 1985. Today, the automobile concern is one of the leaders of the Korean car market and confidently declares itself on the international arena. Since the logo with the letter H belongs to Honda, the Koreans have designed their emblem a little differently. Although the logo resembles a slanted letter H, the designers themselves tried to depict two people shaking hands. If you look closely, the badge really displays that. Kia, the oldest Korean automaker, started in 1952 with the manufacture of bicycles. 5 years later, the production of scooters was established. In 1961, motorcycles, and in 1973 the automobile assembly plant was launched. Due to the financial crisis, Kia retrained on budget models, which helped the concern to survive and eventually become one of the world's most successful automakers. The badge of the cars of this Korean brand reflects the name of the brand, enclosed in an oval. SsangYong, the Korean company, was popular in its time, but had a number of ups and downs. They failed to remain a purely Korean brand due to bankruptcy. As a result, the company was taken over by the Mahindra concern from India. The logo shows stylized wings, although some believe that these are the claws of a dragon. Daewoo in South Korea. The date of appearance of the automobile industry is considered to be 1972, when the government granted the right to engage in the production of cars to 4 concerns. 2 of them, Kia and Hyundai, exist to this day, and Shinjin was forced to create a joint venture with General Motors, and a few years later turned into Daewoo Motor. Since 2002, it finally came under the jurisdiction of the powerful American automobile concern. The logo of the brand, according to some, a stylized lily, while others believe that it is a seashell. There is no official information on this matter. Among Korean automobile logos, this one can be called the most mysterious. Perhaps the icon displays a seashell. Modern Korean cars, despite the rather modest list of existing companies, are associated with high quality and affordable prices. China. For a long time, the Chinese car industry was not taken seriously outside the country. All cars produced were low-end copies of famous brands, but they did not meet the strict requirements for quality and environmental friendliness. But gradually, everything changed, and the perception of Chinese cars changed the vector. Even now, their names and signs are well recognized. Cars from the Celestial Empire are actively bought in Russia, CS countries, and even Europe. We can single out some of the most significant brands that came to the automobile markets from China. Zodi, not the most famous Chinese brand, but gradually spreading throughout the countries of the world. You can recognize these cars by the stylized letter Z on the hood. Lifan, the logo of this company, is based on 3 sailing ships. This manufacturer is trying to show that they are rushing at full speed. Landwind, on domestic roads you can meet a lot of crossovers and SUVs of this brand. The icon is depicted in the form of a red rhombus, inside which they placed a stylized letter L. JMC, a rather simple but memorable logo, made in the form of 3 triangles and supplemented with the company name at the bottom. Tiger, they used a capital letter for the logo. But the most interesting thing here is that the idea was taken from Hyundai. Here also 2 people are allegedly shaking hands. Hyma, in many ways, the badge resembles the symbolism of the Mazda brand, with a slightly modified bird inside the circle. The fact of external similarity with the logo of the Japanese brand cannot be denied. Heifei, at the heart of the logo, is a shield, and on its background are displayed 2 waves of the river flowing in China, which is called Sungari. The thing is that it is on the bank of this river there is a city where the history of the company began. Great Wall, founded in 1984 as one of the first private automobile companies in China, Great Wall Motor already in 1998 became the largest Chinese manufacturer of pickup trucks. Currently, it is the leader in the SUV segment. The Great Wall logo is a stylized image of the Great Wall of China. This is how the brand name is translated. But if the name of the Chinese car brand is known to many, the icon is still identified with great difficulty. Geely started in 1984 with the production of refrigeration equipment. In 1992, the company was able to establish the production of motorcycle equipment, and in 1997 became the first private automobile company in China. Currently, the company has 9 plants and is one of the largest Chinese automakers. In Chinese, Geely means happiness, and in the Celestial Empire it is associated with the blue sky. This is what is depicted on the emblem of the Chinese automobile brand Geely along with the brand name. There is a ring, inside of which there is a white wing, or maybe a mountain, against the blue sky. Foton, a well-known manufacturer of commercial vehicles. Outwardly, their logo is very similar to the badge of a popular manufacturer of sportswear. That's why their cars are easily recognized by a slanted triangle divided into 3 parts. FAW, the company, is gradually gaining popularity outside the homeland. You can recognize their cars by the image of a hawk with wings on the badge. Although in fact there is a unit in the center, and also used hieroglyphics meaning car. Dongfeng, the car company, is not considered the most popular Chinese brand, but they are the ones who used one of the main symbols of the East in the logo. It is about yin and yang. Chery, a popular company, whose cars have long gone beyond the borders of China, and very successfully. The logo consists of an oval and a triangular diamond. Chang'an, there is nothing complicated in their logo. It is a circle with the letter V in the middle. It reminds something of the Acura badge, only in inverted form. BYD, one of those cases when Chinese car logos don't use symbols and characters. Just an oval with the letters of the company name inside. Brilliance, a very worthy representative of the Chinese car industry, producing not the cheapest, but rather high-quality cars. The logo is based on hieroglyphs, which mean diamond. BAW, some people are sure that the idea with the logo for these Chinese cars was taken from Mercedes. Although it is worth being objective, this is not a 3-rayed star, but rather the steering wheel of the car, made in silver color. Baoyong, such cars are rare on Russian roads. Given the translation of the company's name, it is not surprising that the logo has a profile of a horse. It is beautiful and original. Many motorists, using logos, try to show their history, emphasize their strengths, and make cars more memorable. This is often achieved, as car enthusiasts can easily recognize dozens of car brands just by looking at their logo. In conclusion, the world of car logos is a fascinating blend of history, culture, and innovation. Each emblem tells a unique story, reflecting the values and aspirations of the brand it represents. From the sleek designs of luxury vehicles to the rugged symbols of off-road giants, these logos serve as a visual shorthand for the identity and heritage of their manufacturers. As we continue to explore the evolution of these icons, we gain a deeper appreciation for the artistry and thought that goes into every detail. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the meanings behind car logos from around the globe.